This week, our topic is the lead up toward the Revolutionary War. Now, the most important thing to remember about the causes and the lead up to the Revolutionary War is it all sort of gets its start with the French and Indian War. The colonists, along with the British, were fighting against the French and the Indians. And after that, the British had taken out a lot of debt in order to help the colonists fight off the French and the Indians. And because of that, a lot of the British people thought, well, the colonists should now be paying their fair share in taxes, which makes total and complete sense. However, the problem that the colonists had was that they had absolutely zero say in how much the taxes would be and what the taxes would be on. They had absolutely zero say. The colonists had no representation in Parliament whatsoever. And so this made the colonists very angry. How can the British tell us suddenly that they're going to be taxing us because they helped us fight a war when we have no say in it? And if we can't stop it ever, and we don't have a say in what the taxes will be or what they will be on, eventually they will tax everything and the taxes will get ridiculous if we have no power to stop it whatsoever. So when the Stamp Act, for instance, came around, the colonists were vehemently opposed to it. In fact, they organized the Stamp Act Congress, which organized representatives from all of the colonies to get together and to discuss what are we going to do about this situation. They boycotted. Luckily, the colonists in that instance won and got the Stamp Act removed. However, the British Parliament passed what they called the Declaratory Act, which more or less said, hey, we can do whatever we want with the colonies, and they have to obey any law that we want them to. The situation only got worse. As more and more taxes were passed on the colonies and more taxes were put on the colonies, the more they resisted the taxes, the more they boycotted all of the products that were taxed, the more they boycotted everything. And it got to the point where in Massachusetts, the colonists were so upset about the taxes that they were protesting, and a group of British soldiers fired into the crowd of protesters. This is what was called the Boston Massacre. 5 people died at the end. Now, before you go thinking that the colonists were completely innocent in that, they had been throwing things at the soldiers and had been provoking them. So that's something to think about. By far, one of the largest events that led to the Revolutionary War is the Boston Tea Party. Long story short, the British Parliament had put a tax on tea, but they had also reduced the overall price of the tea, which meant that even with the tax, the tea was still pretty cheap. It was still a pretty good deal. Thinking and assuming that the colonists would be very happy that they could get tea, for a good deal. However, the British forgot that they were mad about the tax and not necessarily about the price of the tea. It was the principle of the matter. It was the principle that the tax was there at all. And so the colonists refused to pay that tax, refused to even have it unloaded off of the ship, and in fact made a point of dumping the tea into Boston Harbor, which the British responded to by basically trying to crack down on the colonies. They passed what they called the Coercive Acts, which the colonists called the Intolerable Act. That should tell you exactly how they thought about them. And it only made the situation worse. Look in your textbook for some more details about what exactly the coercive or intolerable acts actually did. But that is a long story, very short, compressed into about 5 minutes or so. If you do have any questions, please do feel free to let me know. And please do contact your textbook for more details. Thanks.